Hello. Let me try and coax my dog to come out. Um, 1 second. Is my audio okay? Debak, you want to say hi? You want to say hi, baby? Debak. He's not coming. Do you want to say hi? He's under my bed. He likes it when the AC is on because he feels cool. Okay. Hi, everybody. Let me say hi to everyone. Maybe he's going to come out when he starts hearing me talk. Just me, CDV, Nadira, Hanako Grace, Robin Bryce, Lisa Parker, Salmart, Genesis, Amy, Amy said she's a travel agent now. If anyone needs help for hotels or flights, let me know. Are you freelancing, Amy, or are you working for a company? Okay, my dog is here. Come here. Okay. You have to say hi, baby. Say hi first. Say hi. Say hi, hi. 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 Say hi. Hello. He was very tired yesterday. He was very tired yesterday. We went to the park and there were, I think, five, maybe four, probably five squirrels that were playing with him. They were like really egging him on to chase them, which he was very much happy to do. So he was very tired. Like, um, I know when he's tired when he goes straight to his bed, under my bed, so that people don't see him. And then when he doesn't really follow us around, like he would just stay there, that like he would rather just rest. Okay. So Amy is actually a travel agent. Are you freelancing or are you working for a company? Hanako Grace, Nadira, Elazar, Arlene, Genesis, Sarah, Ruth, Courtney, I am Claudia. Okay, let me see if I can breeze through this. PZ48128, Cindy, iCarmy, Shelling, CMB Family, Susan, OSP, Nigma, Price, Michelle, Susan, Courtney Jung, Carla Girl, Susan, Maki, Dodger Girl, Robin Bryce, Salimao, Terrin, Halinao. Halina W. I'm guessing that's um Lisa Parker, Christy, Wonder Human, Rachel, Maritz, Juveline, Kez, Lily, Viet Crown, Hanako Grace, Emily, um, Norisa, Lorena is on Twitch, Maritz, Genesis, Ruth, Jolly, A, the squirrel, Taryn, yeah, the squirrel nemesis, Lisa, Bang Luna, Hanako Grace, JJ Alcazar, Bora Winkle, PZ48128, Elizar 888, Anna Shoulder, Sinri, A Brown, Mycel, Christy, Nikon Lady, Tico Lady. Okay. Bora Winkle. Okay. I think I've said hi to everybody. Dodger Girl is also on Twitch. Okay, so we how was your weekend, guys? Is everything good? Um so as you know, I actually missed, yeah, it is growing fast. And as you know, I'm contemplating on stop not coloring it anymore, but we'll get there. Okay, so mm as you know, I actually missed. Did you all watch JK's live stream? He's very, very cuddly. Yeah, he likes it because the AC is on. I'm not sure who JK was talking to, but he offered to give away some of his old equipment. Yeah, so he said that he bought a lot. I think he changed a lot of things. Like he changed most of his like setup, like mic and earpiece and whatever, headphones, and then bought more. So he said that if you're within his area, he'll just give it to you. If you need anything. Weekend is always too damn short. It is always damn short. Miss this live. Okay, so I'm guessing that Hi Boy or DJ Gino will translate it if they haven't already, but I'm sure they're gonna translate it. Although he was talking like if you're like me who knows a little bit of like, if you can catch words, you can probably understand what he generally was saying because he was talking slowly. He wasn't really talking a lot. And it was short. He just really wanted to say hi. He said he needed to wash up and then rest. So I guess he just really wanted to say hi because he changed his setup. I really wanted the Addy trash can that he it was so funny. Um okay, Dodger Girl said that both Hi Boy and DJ Gino have both translated the live already. So there you go. So there you go. Another friend actually said that, not friend, but well, I guess friend, but one of you actually said that they usually put when High Boy and when DJ Gino translates, they put the speed of their video to 1.5 just to sometimes because they said that sometimes the translation takes a really long time. So that's another tip. Maybe you guys can explore that and see if that'll allow you to watch like more of their translations. Because she said that the translations can sometimes go up to like 3 hours. Um, and there are also like chatter in between or whatever. So it tends to go longer. So they said like, yeah, aside from putting them on while they're doing something else, they also put it at 1.5 speed. So maybe you can try that. So yeah, I absolutely love the Ari trash can. I'm hoping I can get one. But it was so cute the way that he was just showing it off and then hugging it. It was like, okay, way to promote. I guess they co-own that product line. So okay, I would begin by getting access to Ari. I would begin with getting access. So I ordered. So this is such a tragedy. I actually ordered such a tragedy. First world problems. I ordered their Oreo from Amazon, and they made me wait 2 weeks only for them to cancel on the day of. So I'm gonna try and order again and see if they're gonna deliver it. Another option would be to just actually go to the store, to Walmart. And then the other thing is, so same thing is true with Ari. I actually tried to order some of the other flavors, but it was out of stock. So I'm waiting for it's already ordered, but I'm waiting for it to be delivered. And then yeah, so those are the two main points. So I also went to McDonald's yesterday to try and get the Happy Meal. And uh yeah, so Jungkook, Jimin, and Suga are all out of stock on all the stores that I've went to. Um so I guess I'm gonna try again. So let's see. Okay, just go to the supermarket. I will try, yeah. Okay, so as you know, I was actually gonna go to Comic-Con. I couldn't because of yeah, they canceled it. How tragic, right? Did not love the BTS Oreo, too sweet. Maybe you can pair it with black coffee. I can drink black coffee, so I'll probably try that because I've already heard the feedback that it was very, very sweet. And I'm not a sweet person, so maybe balancing it with black coffee. I just need cookie. You just need cookie? Okay, well I am missing those three. And I've tried every store. They were like, no, it's just they were the first ones to go. Okay, strong tea. Okay, so as you know, I was gonna go to Comic Con. I couldn't because of some other commitments that I decided to prioritize over that. However, some of my friends actually have gone, as they do. They have some because I like manhwa, I like comic books, I like graphic novels. So it was actually supposed to be the first time I'm going this year. But I have some friends who actually regularly go to events like this, and they are like hardcore. They would actually dress up. Hi, Mrs. Sue. So I got some of the feedback from them. They also gave me some tea on what happened, how they think Hybe can actually improve this experience. So apparently, this is the first. It seems not apparently. It seems that this is Hybe's very first experience in actually. Um, I did not go. I did not go to Comic Con. I had another commitment that I decided to prioritize over that one. So, but I hope I can go next year. All right. Are the tickets to Comic Con still as difficult to obtain? Yes, yes. That's actually one of the inputs that I was gonna give. They announced the participation of NHYPEN very, very late. So tickets were already sold out by the time they announced NHYPEN was gonna come. So majority of the people that actually went to their talk weren't K-pop fans, and there were fewer NHYPEN fans. There were certainly some um, overlaps, certainly, but it's not as overwhelmingly K-pop fans that were present in the event. So that was a good thing. But anyway, I was gonna say, like next year, I plan to go this time. Really, like really go because because I thought that was a missed experience for me. So usually, when they start selling the tickets, they don't have the lineup yet of who's gonna be there, who's gonna do like a talk or whatever. Because when Comic Con started, it was really geared towards like comics. So the people that would be there were like authors, illustrators, and um, a lot of people would actually, a lot of these authors, a lot of these graphic comic artists would announce on their own like network that they're trying to get a booth, or they are probably going to get a booth or something like that. And so the fans that would buy it are actually fans of those. And so, and that happened for like many, many years, to the point where Comic Con itself sort of developed their own fan base based on the promotions that the artists and the publishers were already doing. So there are actually memberships. So you need to open an account. And then when they announce the ticketing, it's like K-pop concert ticketing. People actually queue up. They run out of tickets very, very quick. There's like, so it's multi-day. I think it's 4 days, so you can get a ticket per day, which is more expensive, or buy for all days. So it's, by the time, and this is like it happens yearly. Tickets are usually sold out or near sold out by the time they announce um their lineup. Now, it does happen when sometimes they would create like an extra venue, not create, but they would put up another, like a separate venue just in case there's a special guest, and then open up more tickets for a specific event. That happens as well. But it was an advantage for Enhypen that it really was a different kind of crowd when they went. So, but it seemed apparent that this was the very first time Hybe has done something like this, because a lot of the things that fans would usually, like comic book fans, would are already accustomed to, it wasn't there in the booth, that I think could have benefited Enhypen. And there were other two comic books that were available in the booth. It was Seven Fates Chacos and TXT Star Seeker. They also made those available. But of course, the main player was Dark Moon, and they had a separate. This is as far as I understand what was communicated to me. So there was a separate. So there was a booth for the books where you can buy the comic books, and Dark Moon was there. Of course, that they highlighted that one, and then Seven Fates Chacos and Star Seeker were already there. Were also there, and then there's a separate booth for the setup of Dark Moon. So we'll talk about some of the feedback that I got from non-K-pop fans, like comic book fans that were there, and also some of the things that the members said. And probably I'll introduce based on, this is funny because I asked the Comic Con fans what they understood of the lore of Enhypen. I don't know if there are engines here, so I'm going to communicate with to you based on how they communicated it to me. Okay? And then I'll also drop some hints on some future Hollywood projects that may or may not be adjacent to, to Dark Moon. Okay. BTS Airport Watch. Are they leaving now? Okay, so she's on Norwegian would say said she's on BTS Airport Watch. Do we have mods now? Not yet, not yet, but I'm getting there. Yeah, I had to, because I'm leaving 2 days. Okay, I'll do that after. Okay, let's do Enhypen first. Okay, so this is them. So they had they're the very first K-pop act that actually participated in a sit down discussion in Comic Con. They also performed um, Hi Jazzy. So that's how they look like when they appeared. And the most remembered was actually Jay, not Jake, but Jay, because he made a very strong statement that actually made it to Associated Press. Okay, all right, let's start. It was so funny because okay, after this, so their Dark Moon webtoon actually generated 200 million views after their appearance in Comic Con. Pretty huge, right? So 200 million views on top of the regular views that they get. But this is concentrated on the Dark Moon webtoon. So that is way more than fantastic. I'm gonna have to say. So and 63.6 million of those views came from the US, and Spanish speaking countries is 36.3 million. And then the rest, I guess, the rest of the world. But my point is that for them to actually get 63.6 million views of their comics, that is just wow. Just wow. Even for a Marvel series, for example, that's a lot of views. So this is very good. It's a very good sign for NHYPEN. It's very good for Hybe and for Hybe NEB, and I hope that they take advantage of this. Apparently, they translated into 10 or 12 different languages, which is good. So they were able to accommodate and serve the Spanish speaking market. Okay, so that's the first good news. Okay, amazing, Love J. Yeah. And then the audience, as I've said, significantly were non-K-pop fans. Many of them were actually Twilight fans. But still, some were just like Comic-Con fans. They just love this genre and this universe. And so they came to actually listen to the talk. Um, Now, next. So this is the controversial statement that Jake made, I believe. Am I right? This was J, or J. So they addressed the fans. So, and they said that he said that I feel like a lot of people are worried about us, and obviously he was addressing one member leaving, and he said that like all the fans, I feel like a lot of people are worried about us, like all the fans, but I just want to say that we're better than ever. It was Jay. It was Jake. Andy said it was Jake. Jake. It was Jake who said it. So but I just want to say that we're better than ever, you know. It's like this mutual kind of thing because we're worried about the fans and we are most confident about this next album. So it was a little longer, but this is the snippet that AP, Associated Press, took and put on their release. And so now, congratulations. The whole of America already knows about the breakup because of Associated Press and Reuters. But this is the most, this is um, the most coded part of the entire thing. Okay, so Shelly said that Yoongi's quick long strides through the airport. No, not today either. So I guess they're already in the airport. If you wanna, if you guys wanna tune in to them walking in the airport, I'll watch later. Okay, so this is actually one of the most quoted. So a lot of Comic Con fans wanted to know actually what happened because of what he said. And I think it was prompted by a question by the moderator. Now, as you know, since comic fans are not really aware of what's happening with the band, but that's one of the first things that they learned about it, about the band, was that there was a member who left and whatever. But I guess one good thing about this whole being in the US, like having your audience predominantly Americans or US based, is that they really don't care about it. Like when they heard about it, it's like, oh, okay. No one really made a big deal out of it. But the concentration was actually more about the story, which is a good thing. Um, a lot of the people that actually came, um, they were more attached to the story that the group was actually offering. Now, they did feel, according to those that attended, they did feel that the moderator also don't know much about the lore of Enhypen because the questions weren't so focused enough for him to be able to ask questions that could give the audience some idea on what the lore is actually about. So it did help that they have a dedicated booth for Dark Moon, because people actually, I heard, went to the, like, they swarmed the Dark Moon um booth after that. And as I've said, there were like 200 million views from their after the talk. So it did work. People were actually curious about what happened. Okay, baby, I'm starting to lose, like, my, let me change my, wait a minute. I'm gonna shift my leg. I'm sorry, baby. I have to shift my leg because I can't feel anything. Is that okay? There. Okay. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, baby. Okay. So, um, all right. So after that, so there, this is the setup of the Dark Moon booth. Some pictures that was sent to me, and so there were some sort of efforts to try and make the audience understand, or at least curious as to what the concept was all about. Like, what is the core story all about? Okay, so however, one of the feedback is that they weren't interactive enough for Comic Con fans. Because remember, these fans are the ones that actually dress up when they go, they take the time out to put on makeup, and some of them are even in character when they go to this conferences. And so a lot of them are used to actually doing or experiencing a little bit more of the literature when they attend the conference. And I think that was what was lacking a little bit in the booth of Hype. Anyway, another thing that stood out to people were the alternative powers. I guess they were asked, like, outside of the powers that you have, what it is that you kind of want to have, like what superpower you want to gain. And so Jake said time travel. Jay said ability to stop time. Sunghun said super speed. Nikki said time manipulation. Jungwon said super strength. And Suno said a power that attracts all engines. Um, I guess the answers were good. But again, you come back to the psyche of the people that were attending. You have to kind of match their crazy to a certain degree, crazy in a good way. So these people are very, very, very creative, and they're very similar to K-pop fans when it comes to psyche. I mean, they can really get into something, like they are super fans. In fact, even I would argue that before K-pop had super fans, it was actually them. They had super fans. So I wish it was like they said something creative that would prompted even more conversations. I think that would have been good for them. Um, I don't know if they were given the questions in advance, but so something like this, a PR training would actually help before the actual Q&A, um, to get them into, like, the psyche of their audience, for them to be able to match or fulfill the expectations of the audience. Okay. Next, enthusiast, not crazy. Yeah, I guess you can say that. But when I say crazy, it's like a good crazy. We always say, for writers, like script writers like me, or book writers like and authors like me, we always say that, and this is like a real legitimate idiom. It's not even an idiom, like just like principle. For you to actually, you need, for you to be a good writer or a good creative person, you do need to be a little bit crazy. You have to think outside of how normal people think. Because if you're just thinking within the bounds of normal people, then you're just going to create ordinary things, normal things. So if you want to create something really, you have to have the ability to get out of the norm. You have to be abnormal. Uh, the only difference is that you have to summon your talents at will. You have to learn how to let it come and go. Otherwise, you're just going to be permanently crazy. So, the one of the things that policing language actually did is that it is forcing people to submit to certain standards, that's not good for like creative people. You do need to be a little bit crazy, but the difference is that you need to learn how to summon it and then let it go at will. So when I say crazy, it's like when people, I don't really entertain like people saying that's offensive. Well, if it's offensive to you, great. I mean, sorry that it's offensive to you. It doesn't change that I would still say it. So that's what I mean when I say crazy. You do need to be a little bit crazy to do that. So going back, I think a PR training for an event like this would have benefited them so that they could match the crazy of their audience. Um, I think that would have generated. I'm not saying that they did bad. They absolutely did well. I mean, based on the 200 million views that they got, that's absolutely good. Absolutely good. Um, but I'm just saying it could have even been better if there were some like fine tuning to match the audience. Okay. Um, Next, so I'm going to introduce, this is how the Comic Con fans, not K-pop fans, understood the lore. And it was a good exercise for me because I haven't gotten to that level where I would understand the origin story of their vampire. So apparently, according to comic book fans, it started with this woman Celine, and it was like ancient times, and she was the heir to the kingdom, and she worshipped the Vargar, and that was like a wolf god. Now, she was a very powerful shaman. She's a very powerful shaman, but her body was actually too weak to handle all the powers. Okay. So, and this, she inherited a lot of those from, I guess, her family, her parents, either father or mother. So, and she was like, she's a little, like, she's frail and whatever. And so, to protect her, she actually has 7 bodyguards. And that, well, now 6, I guess. So, that would be the 7 members of ENHYPEN, and their ancient equivalent. Now there's Dardan, the character Dardan, who staged a coup. He wanted to kill Celine. Ruth said she inherited it from the mother. Okay. So there's this character Dardan who staged the coup because she wanted, or he wanted, to get the powers from Celine. Now, Celine, to protect herself, decided to convert or sire the 7 bodyguards, and that would 6 now, and that would be the 6 members of ENHYPEN. And so she turned them into vampire, um, and by having them drink her blood, and so they became vampires. But just before she died, or something, just before an event, um, she transported them into the future in the hopes that in the future they would meet again. Okay. So Celine sort of sacrificed herself to protect whatever she has, the power that she has, and also to protect the six bodyguards. And so before dying, she sealed powers and teleported them into the future so they could survive and one day reunite with her reincarnation. How did they write off the other members? I don't think they have. That's not clear to me. I'm not in that level of involvement yet, but this is just based on what the Comic Con fans actually understood from the. So remember, they got the chance to actually go to the booth after. Okay, so there that so they went to, she sealed everything, transported them into the future in the hopes that she's actually gonna go and meet them in the future. Okay, now this is the booth that they went to, which is dedicated to Dark Moon, and then there's another booth where they can actually buy um the books. Now, I don't know how accurate their understanding was, but I decided I was just going to present it to you from their point of view so that you know how much they actually got from it. Okay. Um I did ask them, so apparently in the current, like, the current episodes or the current books that they are releasing or current progression of the story, there is this girl that they are sort of like gravitating towards, and many are assuming that that's Celine, but no one is sure. And they feel that that kind of represents the fans engines, or at least that's what, as again, that's what I got from comic book fans. So it's a pretty good premise. Handed by the shaman. It's a pretty good premise. I think that lore, the origin lore, actually had a real good promise in expanding it. Um, and so are the seven members. So allegedly, in the current stories, they're starting to regain their memories. So they're starting to remember their past lives. But I thought it has the same open-ended um, areas in the story that would allow the fans to write their own versions, right? Because a lot of the story, it's there's a lot to be filled, like the story of Celine themselves, where the six members actually came from, their life before becoming her bodyguards and stuff, their life before regaining their memories, and maybe they went through different lifetimes as well. So a lot of spaces in there, they were able to leave spaces for the fans to actually put their own take, which is kind of similar to the time travel of BTS, where fans can create their different versions, different timelines and stuff. So that's good. Okay, now insights from K-pop fans. Um they so the main, like, sort of point, or the main, I feel like, lost opportunity was the fact that they already had the fans at the point of sale. Outside fans, meaning non K-pop fans, they already had them at the point of sale because they were already in the booth. And remember, when you go to conferences like this, people have a different frame of mind and they're more willing to buy. So many K-pop non K-pop fans just felt like they could have taken advantage of it more. Like, we were there more than willing to buy stuff. They should have sold us more stuff. And that means not just merch. Um they can sell more things that are connected to the lore, and they are most like fans are most likely K-pop non K-pop fans will most likely buy those more. Like if they created more books, more comic books, more experiences online, more merch that could add to the story, like other merch, not just shirts and stuff, but merch that would be connected, toys like that, that would be connected to the lore that they are selling. And they felt like it wasn't enough. Now, I tried to explain to one of them that, at the end of it, the objective was to actually make you listen to their music, not make you buy more of the merch. Now, they understood it, but their point is that when we're reading about the story, consuming the story, music will be innate to all of them, the same way music is innate to many of the comic books right now. That's why we hear often, especially in Japan, we often hear groups that are doing OST, or they participate in the writing of the songs of a certain a comic graphic novel, because that's part of it. So for them, they're saying like, that's not how we think. You don't just push us from being interested in one literature. You don't just push us into music. You're gonna have to live in our world and understand how we consume the product, and then find ways to insert the music into those. Okay. Okay. Next. So that was one, like they felt like it wasn't enough. Um because a lot of them actually felt the lore, the origin story was really, really good. Next is the immersive exhibits, which was sold as an immersive exhibit where you can actually enter thousand-year-old vampire epic. For them, the installation was actually not 3D, meaning they were expecting like there's going to be like a couch and paintings that they can look at, things like entering a horror house or something like that. That's what they were expecting, more 3D stuff. But it was actually more printed materials. So you're looking around it, it was like, yeah, more printed materials rather than a recreation of an actual thousand-year-old vampire room or house, something like that, or a corner of their attic or something, which was what fans were actually experiencing. And this is which is what fans are actually used to. And this is actually where I realized that this is the very first time Hybe is actually doing something like this, because had they known what the fans would be expecting, I think they would have given it. So I think a little bit more, like maybe they should have employed someone that has already been to Comic Con, just to take advantage of that. Again, I'm not saying that it was a bad thing. 200 million views more than speaks for itself. Okay, next. Um, they were so people were actually expecting like real interactive events on a lower level, because remember, this is comic book fans, so they're expecting that they're going to be connected through the music, sorry, through the literature. So they thought that there's going to be like real experience based stuff that they could get into while they are in Comic Con. But it wasn't really. The most interactive was when the members actually visited the booth and actually signed stuff, gave away stuff, and then took some pictures, said hi. Like that was the most interactive. They said there were portions where they can actually listen to some music, look at some photo books and whatever. But remember, you're in comic books, so they're more concerned or more interested about the literature and the lore than they were about the artists that they just met. So I think it should have been eased in, and Hype should have provided more lore based experience rather than pushing the band itself. Okay. Wouldn't this have been the job of their marketing? Yes, it would have been the job of someone from marketing. So this is just the two of them. The two of them were the most talked about, apparently because their English were really clear. So one of my comic book friends asked like, "Oh, one of them really sounded very, very American," and I said, "Well, that's probably because he is." So they said that they were surprised because they were expecting there was going to be a translator that would just translate everything. Okay. And then so they said like, oh, this is more like their versions of vampire, at least how they are right now. They're very like glamorous. They look good, very sleek. But comic book fans are very much used to horror. So it would not hurt if there is something about the past or the story that would portray them to be like terrifying or tragic, more visual, more different, like more out of here. Because right now, their version of vampire is very sleek and very glamorous. They all look good, which there's nothing bad about it. But that has been sort of occupied by the teen vampire genre. So like Twilight, they're all very gorgeous and stuff. So they're looking for something different, a different type of treatment. You mean they don't like the glittery vamps? Not really. Comic book fans, because it's very Twilight. That's the strategy of Twilight and Vampire Diaries or whatever. Um, in fact, there is, yeah. So they are looking for something different. Yeah, looking for something different. So that's like, I would say if Hybe NEB is going to create another, like, if they're going to participate in another Comic Con or whatever, they should create like a portion of their past that would show them a little bit less glamorous and more graphic, like more visually different than how they look right now. They need to, I agree with this, they need to lean into the originals kind of vampires, fine and vicious. So I'll discuss originals in a bit. Okay, next feedback. So there are certain projects that are happening in Hollywood right now. So I'm just wondering if they're going to have some sort of like a collaboration with these people. Vampire Lestat, they're going to try and recreate it. Interview with a Vampire, they're going to try and recreate it. Blair Witch Project already has a green light, so they're going to recreate the Blair Witch Project. Or they could do like a Korean vampire movie that they would enter into, like, I don't know, like festivals and then release it in Netflix. But the two most talked about would be vampire interview with a vampire, and then the Blair Witch Project. Blair Witch Project is already a green, that's a go. So I think they're done with the casting, although when it comes to casting anything can still change. But I think they're done with the casting and they're going to be starting to they're going to start shooting now. Let me put this down, this guy down. Okay, you say bye bye, BB. Bye bye. Bye. You want to go? I think he wants to go to my mom. Okay. So yeah, so the Blair Witch Project is already a go. I think they're gonna start rolling on that one, and there are plans to do a remake of Interview with the Vampire, the one with and Vampire Lestat. So maybe that's something that they can pursue. uh, and then or they can just create their own, like do festival entries first and then release it on Netflix. But my point is that um, this is like it's there is a huge opportunity for them. People were very very interested. Like a lot of the comic book fans, they're so into it. Like they were so ready to consume the content, so ready to consume, that I felt like it was a real missed opportunity. Even though it's a huge success, it could have been even like bigger than that. Okay, so um, if they can partner with any of this, like Vampire Lestat, the movie Interview with a Vampire, the Blair Witch Project, it would be really really great. Now, there's also some discussions about the originals, but I'll get into that. If I forget, remind me. But there's also some discussions about the original. Okay, next. Who is it we're talking about? ENHYPEN. So the Blair Witch strategy is the found footage genre. They actually started it. I know it has been credited to many other movies, but it was actually Blair Witch Project that started it. Um, Cloverfield was that. That's another one that took advantage of the found footage genre. But Blair Witch was the one who started it, and we were heavily involved in the Philippines actually in promoting that in Asia. But that has like a cult following, and that served of like a they used a brilliant marketing strategy. What they did, because they didn't have a lot of money to promote, they actually created a website that made it appear. Remember, this was like before the boom of Facebook or whatever. So they created a website that was supposed to be about this like witch. Um, but it's not like a real lore. It's not a real myth. They just made it up. They just made it up. And so before the movie started, like people were already talking about this specific lore, even though they just made it up. But no one can disprove it because we didn't have fact checking at that time. So that was their main marketing strategy. So when people start heard about Blair Witch Project, look at the website, they realize like there are some people talking about this witch or whatever. They thought it was real. So when they released the movie, they thought the footage were actual footage of actual people, like filmmakers who tried to film the witch. So that was the strategy. Okay. Um, maybe that's something that they can take advantage of, like Enhypen actually can take advantage of something like that, something similar to found footage genre. People were expecting some RPG role playing game based on that. So I hope that they actually do that. There is an RPG, a storytelling RPG that we used to play. It's like yeah, story that's I guess that's how I can talk, I can say it, a storytelling RPG where there is a story master that would give you situations and then you respond, like you will create your own character, we call that session 0, and then you have a story master. He'll give situations and then you'll talk about how you're going to be responding. But there are some rules. So you also roll the dice and stuff like that. So the fans are expecting something similar. I hope they create that storytelling RPG. And of course, like an actual video game RPG. Halloween should actually become their biggest marketing season. I would be very, very surprised if they don't partner with Universal. So for those that are not familiar, on a yearly basis, Universal Studios actually put up one of the best like Halloween theme park show on the planet. Like they know their stuff. So the first time I was there was several years, I guess my father was still alive. That was his when they visited me in the Philippines, in the US. I actually took them there to Hollywood Horror Nights. And you know how in Universal you go through all the studios riding a train, right? And then you go through the different movie sets. So the gimmick is that they will say that the train actually broke down and you're gonna have to get off the get off the train and walk. And then as you walk, all these horror figures are going to approach you, like Freddy Krueger, all of this horror characters in the movie. They'll come out and they'll scare you. So it was so much fun. Like that was my mom was approached, I think, like 10 times, and each time she would scream louder. You'll really have, like, if you like that kind of stuff, you'll really enjoy it. So that would be an opportunity for Hype to actually create a partnership, do a partnership with Universal to try and extend that experience to more people. And I think now that more people are aware of their lore, they would interest a lot more people. It would also be a good idea to actually have them perform there and hypen. Okay, next. And then another thing is that I hope they don't explain the lore too much, because a lot of comic book fans were actually having fun exploring this. They were having fun trying to figure out how it had, like, how, like, where is the origin, where do we find it, and then interacting with other fans that could tell them a little bit more about the story. I heard that some comic book fans actually were looking for engines to ask more questions because they wanted to know more about the story. So this is like, it's time to party. I would say it's time to party for them. Okay, next. I'm spending a little bit more time than I anticipated. Okay, so that was a really, really good, like, that is a good marketing move for Hype. And this is something that not just Engines and Hypen will benefit from, but other groups from Hype as well, because they kind of found like a knit, like a very dedicated market that has the same psyche of K-pop fans, meaning when they get into something, they really get into something. That's good. And then they're very much embedded in the mainstream market. So that's a good entry point. Now, as I've said, I think one of the things that the fans are looking for is like more visual uniqueness. because this market is very, very visual. So if they can create a part of their past that would project them to look like something unique, not just good, like glamorous thing, but something unique, I think that would do them some good. So for the originals, this was a spin-off of the Vampire Diaries. Um, Now I did try to watch the Vampire Diaries, but I guess I'm a little bit too old for that kind of a story. So I was like, after I tried to finish season one, I barely finished season one, but it did not hold me strong enough. But originals did. So that's the spin-off of Vampire Diaries. And so the originals is is the story of the original vampires, the first vampires in America. So that's the story. Um, and so one of them, Klaus, is the mother's child with a wolf. So he's a vampire and a wolf. It's kind of like just downright insane. I remember I like action movies. As you can see, I'm so addicted to Agent Kim. If you haven't watched it, please go ahead and do that. Check out Agent Kim Reactivated. So I like watching action movies, action films in general, or TV dramas. And one of the scenes that really attracted me, this is a spoiler alert. If you don't want to hear about it, cover your ears and or mute me for a bit. So one of the things that really drew me into that series was, I think it was in episode one, where they had Klaus, the half vampire, half werewolf character, one of the brothers. They had him tied, and there were like, I don't know, like maybe 200, 300 people going after him, vampires going after him. They tied him up real good and whatever. And he just went berserk, absolutely berserk, and killed everybody. So I was like, wow, I like this character. So so that I think leaning onto something more that would be even better. Now they have, if it is true that this child or this person that they gravitate towards without really knowing why, if that is Celine, if that is the reincarnation of Celine, that would be like a good hook, because it's very emotional. If they make it like, if she's like a young girl or a young woman, that would make it emotional, which would attract more people. But in the end, it's a good strategy. It's a good marketing move and a good PR move. And I think this is something that they would continue to utilize in the future for their other groups. I know that Eyelet actually has a very good lore. Le Seraphim had an okay lore. And then of course you have Seven Fates Chaco. So these are things that they can actually really, really tap into. Okay. Klaus's personification of insane, it was only Elijah that kept him a bit tamed. Yes. Well, vampires can be considered serial killers, which I also like. Yes. Okay. Mystery is important. I don't even do that paid haunted houses at Halloween show. I'd rather not know if I'm fight or flight or freeze kind of person. But it's fun. Do you scare easily? Because I wasn't really in Hollywood Horror Nights. I wasn't really scared, but just having that environment around you to suspend reality for a moment, it was fun. So so happened that we stopped. I mean, the car that we were in, that specific car that we were in, my parents and I were riding, it stopped right in front of the hotel. The killer, yeah, the hotel, the child who killed his mother and tried to become his mother. So we stopped right there, and the guide was telling us like, if you want to rest, you can go check into the hotel. I'm like, I'm not going to check in that hotel. The killer, Norman Bates, there you go. Norman Bates is right there. So it was just fun, having to communicate, interact with characters like this. So if you ever get to LA during Halloween, it would be a great experience to actually try it at least once. They're not gonna, I think they have certain rules. They can't touch you for sure. Of course, you shouldn't touch them. So I mean, the characters, so they can't touch you. If you stop, they're gonna, like, if you run, they're gonna chase you, but you have to run first and then they'll chase you. If you stop, they'll stop, something like that. They have rules, so it's very, very safe, but they know what they're doing. Okay, another good PR move would have been a short Zine release for SDCC, like 5 pages or so. That would have been a good move as well. Yes, I absolutely agree. As I've said, a lot of the fans, the ones that actually went there, their primary objective when they heard, because you already piqued their curiosity. So what they wanted to do was to learn more about the lore. And I understand that the objective is to try and get them into the music, but I think that's going to happen organically. So get them into this lore first and then introduce them to the music of Enhypen. ENHYPEN webtoons now extend to a 3D web. Oh, okay. 3D. Okay. Not gonna be horror. I needed something like this for Eyelit. I do too. The one thing that they still need to improve with Eyelit is the language. It was a huge advantage that there were more than two people, more than one person who was actually speaking English in ENHYPEN. So Jake, they were like fluent. So they communicated really, really well, and that loosened up the the atmosphere, because they were very much into, they were it was easier for them to communicate. I saw some figures of Jimin and Jungkook someone is selling. Isn't that going to be against Hype rules? Yeah. Okay, yes, it's against Hype rules. I love the Vampire Diaries. I would imagine so. Okay, OMG, I'm the same. Klaus is a hybrid. Klaus is a hybrid, yes. Like Enhypen, half vamp, half part wolf. Twilight series wolves and vampires don't get along. I like Teach You a Lesson. I absolutely love a Teach You a Lesson. I hope that there's a season two. I think they're already in talks with season two. For Agent Kim reactivated, there's also a season two. So most likely, if you like Teach You a Lesson, you're gonna like Agent Kim. His daughter is the key. His daughter is the key. Correct. Underworld had a vampire werewolf hybrid. Yes. Songhoon character is half vampire. Okay. Psycho, yes, Psycho Bates Motel, Norman Bates. I would rather suspend reality in a non-bloody way. If this lady named Chimi makes these figures as G-Cock and it is legal, I will buy them. Time traveling is really popular in the 2D world lately, so I'm looking forward to Seven Fates. Psycho is the movie Bates. Okay, so those are the feedback. Um I hope that I make it next time, for real this time. I just have this project with Google. I have this thing with project with Google that's kind of overselling it. I have this thing with Google, and I decided to prioritize that, to actually go to that, um because I'm trying to establish some anyway. So I decided to give that up. I can't do both. Um but hopefully next year for sure I'll prioritize this. Okay, so that, I hope that helped. And if there's like one thing that would actually really help, is for fans to actually create their own universes, like create more digital stuff that other non-K-pop fans but comic book fans would actually can actually go into. Like if there is someone who created like a summary of the lores, or there is a creative storytelling website that non-K-pop fans can go to, that would be great to promote. Give it to me. I have a lot of comic book fans. I'll give it to them and they'll most likely consume that. And I think this is the same strategy that Hype can actually use for other groups. So I hope they do that, especially for Wayang Yonwa and for Seven Fates Chakos. Okay. Just looking for some questions. I just deleted my posts. Thank you, Miss Fairlane. Teach You a Lesson was way better as comic, and Hypen was a website to their last album. And Hypen has a website to their last album. Teach You a Lesson and Agent Kim are both on my Netflix watch list, my never ending watch list. I finally watched All of Us Are Dead, loved it. They need and Hypen theorists and Hypen animation on Crunchyroll. And Hypen has an animation in Crunchyroll. Um, you mean animation or manga? Is it manga or like actual 2D animation? So yes, they do need theorists. Yes, and it has to be open forum because these people like participating in things like this. So I hope they do more. Why did I name my puppy Debak? Because he's awesome. I was choosing between Uyu, which is milk, because the color that he had when he was a puppy, it was more milky than anything. So I was choosing between that or Debak, which is awesome. And I decided he's awesome. So I went with Debak. I was either that or I was going to name him something crazy like a Clytemnestra or something like that. Something like that. I decided with Debak. I probably would go for something very Filipino next time. Our national hero's name is Rizal, and actually that's the name of my car. My car has a name. His name is Rizal. He's our national hero. So I might name him something like that, or Pepe, which is the nickname of that national hero. So there you go. That's the lore behind his name. If I get another dog, it'll probably be like, I don't know, like something cute. I'll name him something cute next time. Okay, next. Should we go to Suga and RM? Do you have any other question before I proceed? Perfect name. He's a perfect dog. Correction, anime. Anime. Okay. Dawn has extra CDs, she said. Okay, let's go to Suga and RM. I won't be able to do Jungkook and Jimin because I feel like that deserves its own video. It was such a crazy, a crazy show. So I think it deserves its own video. But I'm going to discuss RM and Suga. Why is Yoongi so handsome? That is a mystery we will never be able to solve. I guess if you look at the parents, that's going to answer your question. Sorry, Namjoon. Yes, please. Hanako Race. I'm curious about who some of them are. I have suspicions, one or two. Okay. Okay, let's go to RM and Suga. So this was, as we know, ENHYPEN has become one of their closest friends. And I feel very, very good about that because this were, as RM actually said in the program, um, ENHYPEN was his Pharrell. So way before they discovered foreign acts, they were very much into ENHYPEN, ENHYPEN, Epikase, and that actually says a lot now that they have become friends with the people that they admire. But more than anything, I think just Tablo has a really good heart. And I think that has his experience about being bullied and being targeted by Korea that actually added to him becoming a better person than becoming a bitter person, because he could have become bitter. He didn't become bitter. He actually rose above it and he became a really, really good Jung to BTS. And I really am very thankful that they sort of found each other, and that that BTS, specifically RM and Sugar, are very, very close to them. Okay, so um that's what I said. I'm glad that they actually have Epic High members as sort of seniors in the business. Now, I do believe that if it wasn't for the Daniel Lee controversy, Epic High could have actually broken through the US market because number one, Tablo actually speaks the language and he writes very, very well. As you know, he's a genius. He has a double degree in Stanford University, finished it in 3 years, which was actually the heart of the controversy. But that was a good sign because he's very poetic. I don't know if you fully already explored the lyrics of Epic High, but he's very, very poetic. That's kind of the their role in the history of K hip hop. They were the ones that introduced that kind of writing. Prior to them, there were already figures like Tiger JK who would talk about like social inequality, social issues. But when it comes to poetry, Tablo was the one who actually introduced it to the Korean market, not to the global market, obviously, but the Korean hip hop market. He was the one who introduced that. Um, and so they have their own pockets, right? So Epikase was that, and then you have probably Yisang for like everyday conversations kind of thing. They would talk about like ordinary stuff that people would encounter, like ordinary problems that became their niche. And then Tiger JK more on social issues, and then the wife Tasha uh, Yunmi Ray, who talked about s- racial inequality, um, stereotyping, that became her subject. So different figures, this were I Epic High would still be considered as a foundational act in Korean hip hop. But that was interrupted, and they had the biggest chance in going global because of the way that Tableau writes. However, that just went down the drain when the controversy happened. So all the momentum they were gaining, he lost. And he's never really talked about why he decided to go low. But my guess is that it was just not healthy for him mentally, and he actually had to step back. It was the only way that he could survive. But it seemed that he did step back because of the controversy. During the controversy, he met his wife, married her, and actually had a baby. And I guess that sort of compounded his decision to step back a little bit. And that's how he kind of lost the momentum that he was building up towards the US. Okay, did anybody go to jail for that? No one, nobody. They never even publicly declared the person who started the hate campaign. No. Okay, so now it was a huge help. All credits to YG Entertainment. This is not to say they did not gain anything um, from Epic High, but at that time when no one would even touch Epic YG took them in, and that's sort of when YG took them in. Epic High was already starting to fight back, sort of like they were starting to gain some momentum in telling their side of the story, specifically Tablo. And then YG took them in, signed them up, and I heard he gave them like a bonus to be able to start something because they weren't working for a really long time. So all credits to him. Although YG Entertainment did gain something from them because it did establish YG as the rebel of K-pop. They were the rebellious, cool, I don't care about the social narrative kind of company. So from there, they were able to release some albums, not many albums, but at least they were able to do some projects. And that included them playing in Coachella. So I know there's a huge talk about this act being the first group to do Coachella and whatever. It was actually Epic High who first played the first Korean act to play in Coachella, and they were the ones who actually opened the doors for many other acts. So Tablo actually talked about way before. Tablo already spoke about how he was actually asked who he would recommend for a certain performance. And it was because he was a YG artist at the time, he recommended Blackpink. Okay. So, all right. So that's the story behind that. Now, so they got signed 2012, I think. 2012, 2014 or something like that. And then they played in Coachella 2016. A year after that, Tablo established Higher Ground, which was going to be something similar to the Black Label of that guy, Teddy. And that was the like the plan that Teddy was going to take care of the pop side of things, and then Pablo was going to take care of like the hip hop side of YG Entertainment. He was going to produce most of them, alternative hip hop indie kind of acts. That was the original goal. However, 2018, I think, he decided to quit under High Ground and concentrate on the album of Epic High, because for some reason they weren't pumping a lot of albums, which people thought they were going to start doing more of. Okay, 2012, they signed 2012. Okay, so yeah, 22, I thought it was, yeah, something right around that. Now, so I guess one of the advantages of having being close to Tablo, to Epic High, is that no one actually knows the pain, like how to be targeted more than Tablo. Because before BTS was targeted, Tablo experienced it first. And there are similarities in that both were actually on the rise. While Tablo was just about to make his ascent, Epic High was about to make their ascent in the US. They were really gaining some traction in the US. He got targeted. The same thing is true with BTS. So they were starting to gain some traction, and they were getting targeted primarily because they were gaining some traction. So the only difference between them and BTS was that for Tablo, there was a specific issue that people latched onto. There weren't a specific issue for BTS. They were throwing a lot of things on the wall and see what was going to stick. Nothing was sticking. That was the main difference. But it doesn't change the fact that Tablo knows how it is to be targeted more than anybody else, I would say. So I think that they actually connect in that level. Um, because when they talk of like, oh, we don't know what to do, like there's so much, like Tablo, like when Tablo says, I know what it feels like, he does know what it feels like. As I've said, the only difference is that um there was a specific issue where he was being targeted at, as opposed to BTS, where everyone was just throwing everything on the wall to see what was going to stick. So I think they connected on that level. They connect at that level. Um, Another thing was that uh, as they went on with their conversation, one of my favorite moments was the absolute regret in Tablo's face when he declined to listen to the song. So if you would remember, they said that right before they released the album, one of them, was it Suga, who called him like, are you free? Like, can you listen to some of our songs? And he declined. He said that it was because I think it was so late at night. It was like 10 p.m. and he was already in bed or something like that. And he absolutely regrets not listening to it. But so I think that's another way that they actually connect, because um, I'm sorry to use this word, but Tablo's taste in music is kind of like elevated the same way. Like he listens to a lot of different types of music. He's not just bound by pop. He actually listens to classical. Like he's because of the how his parents disciplined him. He got exposed to many different types of genre: classical, jazz, R&B. So he can actually match RM and Suga in that regard. So when RM and Suga talks about like this artist that's like an underground artist or a jazz artist or whatever, Tablo knows that. So that's a good connection as well, because he's very much into that kind of genre as well. So I don't know if that's the right word, but his taste in music is elevated. He's not bound by just one genre. Okay. Um, it was Suga. It was Suga who asked him. Is there some kind of an internal mafia in SK entertainment industry that masterminds this character attacks? They know another song. This is another insight that actually. So even in that interview, they were asked about the title track, which was Swim, and then RM was the one who actually said that he feels like there's another song that, well, kinda, he said something like, you know how it is nowadays, where even if it is not a title track, the public is the one that will be sort of choosing which is the title track. Like another song could become viral and the title track will end up not becoming as successful because the public kind of chooses which track is their favorite, which I think he was correct about because different segments of the fan base had their own favorites. There was a concerted effort to try and push Swim, and I think RM appreciates that. He sort of verbalized that. He said he's very thankful that fans are actually pushing it. But I think he is aware that fans actually have their own favorites, and Swim isn't necessarily a sweeping favorite for everybody else. I thought that was very, very telling. And I'm also wondering if it's going to affect the future release because it seemed that I've mentioned to you that I do believe they're going to have an encore concert. That hasn't changed. I feel like they're going to have an encore concert. And in that, I think they may release like 2 to 3 songs or 2 to 4 songs, like a mini album that they would perform in their encore. So I'm wondering how that's going to affect the way that he's going to or the group is going to make decisions in future projects. Because I think they learned a lot from this release on what the market likes, what the so I'm wondering and of course their relationship with radio as well. So I'm wondering when they did this interview, they haven't released the album yet. So they don't know about the reception of the public. But I think even at that time, he was well aware, and which he later on explained, he was well aware that Swim may not necessarily end up becoming the fan favorite. Um, he acknowledged that he repeated that in his own live stream when he was talking about the different tracks. So I was just wondering, like, will that affect how they're going to be deciding how to structure their next release? Um, it has become very, very popular among musicians to do um a double-sided A track, like they would do 2 title tracks instead of just one. That could be something that they would do in the future, or I don't know how they're going to restructure it. I just feel like they really learned a lot on this one, how they're going to be how the fans choose actually. Um okay. He mentioned Suga said that he's already working on his own tracks on his own songs in this appearance, and also he repeated that when they were talking about when BTS was talking about when they did the notes. So he did say that um he already booked some sessions, and J Hope did as well. So that kind of solidified my gut feel that someone will be releasing some materials, either singles while they're doing tours, and then do a full album after their tours. They're going to go do their own solo projects before coming back together again. So it kind of solidified when I watched this, and then I remember the notes. I realized that Suga is well on his way to releasing his own album. He might do a single while they're on tour towards the end, maybe Christmas or something like that, in preparation for his release. Okay. Next. It was very pronounced that they didn't do a listening party because they used to do that. At least the members did regularly. They would do a listening party. They didn't do that. And I think it's primarily because, as I've said, they decided to just be very efficient in how they use their time instead of doing pockets of efforts, marketing efforts, and press junkets. They decided to do everything. They decided to go to markets or mediums that would maximize the impact. So instead of doing listening parties, which would be very exclusive, that for them is not as efficient as doing an interview in the US because they're going to target more people. I also think that the members' listening parties were more a party for themselves not really a party for the public. And I think they kind of realize that that's not going to really benefit their fans, or it's not really going to push forward their goal to open themselves to the public, because it's just going to be a private party. So it's, I think that's kind of where they're headed more and more in the future. Be more exclusive when it comes to interviews, be more picky on who they interview with. Um, the question is, will it be under August D? I do think he did say that. So initially, he said he might not do another release under August D. He later clarified that what he meant was not this August D, like not the angry Mad King anymore. He said that he's done with that part of his life. So it might still be August D, but it could be the relaxed August D, a different kind of August D. Because it did him well that it actually established another identity for him, which I think is very important for him as a producer and just as a solo artist. I remember RM stating that, one of the things that he regretted doing was turning on that live stream and talking about just venting to armies because it created some controversy. Um, I think one of the things that's kind of complicated about, not, yeah, I guess complicated, is that RM kind of treats armies as like a diary of some sort. Um, Jungkook kind of treats armies like people he hangs out, not necessarily friends, but he kind of looks at armies and like, oh, these are the people that I hang out with, something like that. Virtually, of course. Um, and I don't think it's like real friendship, and it's they look at us as a collective. But for RM, I think he's like, it's a diary. Like, this is to whom he vent. This is to whom he vents his worries and whatever. And I think that's kind of like, that's why he's more free. He feels free when he's talking about, um yeah, I think when he vents, he feels more free because he looks at armies as like a diary where you're listening, but you're not really giving your inputs. You're not really judging what he's going through or how he thinks. Again, like a diary. You just say everything that you want to say, and a diary is like, okay, I'm going to keep this forever. But no responses and whatever. I think that's kind of how RM sees armies. And I hope we can find a way on how to protect that. Actually, that's one of the things that I've decided to do, is not to overanalyze the things that he's saying. Next time that I do analysis of his own live stream, I'm probably just going to be talking about more about like the music side of it more than anything. But yeah, when he said that, when he started talking about, oh, I shouldn't have turned on the live stream and or whatever because it just created some controversies, I realized that he, he's fully aware that there are millions of people watching him. I think the counter is pretty visible when he's talking. Um, so I don't think, like, I think he's aware of that. He's very, very smart. And for him to say that, oh, it created some controversy. I'm like, initially I was thinking like, well, you're world famous and everything. Of course it's going to create some controversy. But I think kind of later on I realized that maybe that's how he looks at armies. Like, you're supposed to be my diary. Like a buddy that you call. Like, can we have a drink or play golf or whatever? And then he just talks and yaps, and you're like, ah, okay, I understand you. Okay, gotcha. But you're not really expected to give your input. Just listen, something like that. Um, and so I hope we can kind of sort of appreciate and protect that side of him. Okay, next. Weverse needs to have a better grip. Yes, I love his honesty. Yes, I love. But RM worries Army that then has to post an apology. Baby Army don't have a history of him. Yes, they don't. Maybe they'll do Zach Sang when they're in LA. Maybe. He's one of the good interviewers out there as well. Yeah, maybe. Okay. So I remember, so another thing that Tablo said, one of my favorite portions was when Suga said that, oh, I remember one of the advices that you gave us, sorry, when they first met him was to save as much of their money as they can. And Suga said, I did take your advice to heart. I don't spend I don't spend a lot. I just save them all. So I think what he meant, obviously he spends a lot on his music equipment, but I think what he means is that, like, everyday stuff, he doesn't buy anything when he doesn't think it's necessary. Um, the way Jungkook would buy multiple gadgets for his live stream. Although you can argue that he's buying all of those things because he wants to provide armies a better experience when he does his live streams. Considering he does like long live streams, so yeah, that's definitely um, something to consider. But I think that was so striking that this was the first time he met Tablo gave him an advice and he took it to heart. Yep, I'm saving a lot of money. um I guess based on what we're discovering about, unfortunately, the things that we're discovering about Suga, about the way that he invests, he knows his things, right? Like, he knows his stuff about investments. He's put his money on funds. He has, the that restaurant and the properties and all of those good stuff. So it's good that I don't know if this is a hype or big hit program, but all of the boys seem very, very good at investing their money. And I think that's also one of the reasons they've managed to become very picky when it comes to the brand deals that they pursue. They're not like doing 20 at a time, because they are they're okay. Like, they are generating income outside of the thing that they do. So, okay. Um, Yoongi doesn't splurge indiscriminately. Yeah, he buys with a purpose. Yeah, when he thinks that is going to help his um his music, he buys them. Um, Another thing was that, so Epic High really did ask a lot of questions that other people wouldn't normally ask. So he asked he asked RM and Suga on how they actually split the income of BTS, and he just said we split them equally. I'm going to assume that he's talking about performance income and the vocal part of it for the masters, but I'm going to assume that whoever contributed to the writing actually got their fair share when it comes to the writing residuals. So since RM, Suga, and J Hope have the most writing credits in their albums, then I would say that the three actually got most of um, higher income when it comes to their discography, BTS discography. Uh, but I think when it comes to vocals, the masters itself and the performance, I think they're just splitting it equally. And so I thought that was like a brave thing for for him to ask, for Tableau to ask, but he did ask it. I kind of guessed that that was the case already, but it's good that they actually clarified it. I would have, it was if it was me, I would have pushed it a little further. Like, but you do get your copyright, your residuals for writing, right? I would have clarified it that way. Okay, but I think because Tablo understood it already, he didn't push. Um, I like the proposal of Tablo to actually just buy the old building. I hope they do. Because they discussed about the building having like vandals because people are writing stuff on it and stuff. So his proposal was buy the building and turn it into like a museum or something that armies can actually visit and whatever. He said he was actually planning on doing a fundraising for that so that he can buy it. And he's going to charge a fee for people to actually watch it. But that was a good proposal. I hope they do. I don't know. I mean, I'm sure it has already crossed their minds. I'm sure it has already crossed the mind of Hype to actually buy it. I don't know why they have it. I know it is owned by an actor right now. He owns it. It is occupied, so there are actual offices right there. Companies that are using the building. When I did my pilgrimage, I took all of you with me. Um, you saw the condition of it right now. So I hope that they actually buy it. I hope they buy the very first dorm. That's another thing that I hope that they do. RM can have this gallery there. Well, yeah, I mean I think it's 4 floors, maybe five floors. So, maybe each member can have a gallery of their own, whatever it is that they want to display. And people can just go there and just, armies can pay a fee to be able. I think it's going to be, I don't know, but. But that was a good advice. I hope they take it. I'm sure it has already crossed the mind of Big Hit and Hype. I don't know why they haven't bought it. It's such a it's such a memorable spot, right? Because this is like the home of the group that made Korea global. They did say that they still go to that park. So when I did my pilgrimage, I also went there. I took you with me. So if you want to check that out, it's in my live stream. It's a really, really nice park. If you ever go there, if you make your way to South Korea, my plans haven't changed. By the way, I do plan to go there for the encore. Please visit the park because it's such a beautiful park. There is an area where you can actually hike. I did not. I went like maybe just like in the very very beginning of the hike, but I didn't actually go up. But you can actually go and hike up. It would be it's a really nice break if you wanna just shed some pounds in the morning, go there, take some walk, and it'll be good. RM could buy it and open the museum. He does want to open one. Yes, he does want to open one. I thought that was a good idea. I hope that they follow through and give it as a place for Army to pilgrimage towards. Yes. I mean, imagine if that's like your ultimate destination and then you have a guide for the very first dormitory they have, the second dorm, the blue dorm, the restaurant that they used to eat, that park that they used to go to, and then the third dorm, which was already converted into a cafe. So, as you know, I actually walked, right? And you're done. I told you guys that if you're going to start at like 9 o'clock, by 12, you're done, or 2, or even 11, you're done. Because by the time that I made it to the restaurant where I actually had my lunch and waited for the release of the music video, um it was like an hour or something, and that was me taking my time because I was still confused with how I should be navigating the map and all of those stuff. But each place is like always just less than 5 minutes away from the other. Okay, that actor wants to sell it. Well, yeah, I mean, it's still, the value is still going up, and there are offices there. It's occupied. Like there are offices that are actually using it. One of the most touching moments in that would be when Tablo said, there was one day when RM actually went to him for advice, and RM was crying, was really, really worried and stuff. Um, and that RM stayed in the studio for like hours on end. And then the very next day, it was Suga who came talking about the very, very same thing. And I really love what Tablo said. He said, that's when I realized these guys are going to be okay. Like it was so full of wisdom that the guys went to him talking about their problems, and in the process of the guys talking about their problems, that's when Tablo saw it and realized that, yeah, you're gonna be okay. Like it wasn't even about the solution to the problem. He wasn't talking about that. He was just talking about like knowing how the boys are dealing with their problems, how they're worrying about it, and what they're worrying about. That's actually what made him think and convinced him that the guys are going to make it. Because I feel like we don't appreciate the trials enough, like the trials that we don't honor it, and we don't respect it, and we don't honor it, we don't respect it enough to appreciate what trials and problems actually bring our way. So when he said that, I thought, oh, that was like, it was so it was so full of wisdom when he said it, that you went, the sugar came the next day talking about the same worries, and him saying, yeah, you're gonna be okay. It wasn't like, oh, this is the solution to your problem. He probably did that, who knows, I don't know, we don't know what they really actually talked about. But at least in the way that he framed it, he wasn't like, the problem was like nothing to you, you could have solved it and something like that. He was just like, yep, you're gonna be okay. So that, I mean, of all the great moments in that episode, I think that was my favorite when he said that. You guys are going to be okay. These guys are going to be okay. Okay. Big Hit should pay Tableau retroactively for counseling service. You know what? I would, if I were Big Hit, I would offer Tableau. I would offer to buy Tableau's label, or invite him to be like I don't know, a performance director, or I don't know, something like that. Like, just give him his own label, maybe. Maybe at that time, for YG, it was just the wrong moment because they were still recovering from a huge controversy. But now that everything is okay, I think Tablo is going to be a great CEO, like a great, or at the very least, be a creative director. I hope. Okay. Although I think Tablo is like, he's okay doing it on their own, of course. And I think that may be like, this is probably where he wants to be. He's just controlling everything. But if I were Hybe, I would definitely offer him something. Um, so this is one of my favorite. Another good moment when they were talking about how Suga has turned Jimin into a stress ball or something like that. So RM said that, like, every after, at the end of a rehearsal, at the end of their meetings or rehearsals, like, Suga would invite Jimin to go to a sauna, like, to relieve his stress. And it's like, I think it turned Jimin into a stress ball or something. And then RM said that he is the same. He would actually turn to Jimin when he has something. And I guess it's the same for Jungkook as well. For Jungkook, it's RM, and Jimin. And so when Tablo asked, like, well, who does Jimin rely on? And it was just so funny in their expressions, like, oh, yeah, we should ask that, right? Like, we don't know. Well, it seems to be Jungkook. I think they're very, very close. Maybe RM as well. Maybe, I don't know. We don't know. So anyway, but that was one of my favorite moments. Um, so yeah, like, but the way RM actually said that Suga has turned Jimin into a stress ball. It's like, that was a good way of putting it. And when Tablo asked, like, so who does Jimin rely on? It's like, oh yeah, we don't know. So, but if there's any hate message, this is something that that I actually post. As you know, I did a video on Jimin. It was really more about his brand power. I really don't care about whose jersey or item it is as the biggest bid on Christie's for FIFA's items. I think it's going to benefit the kids. I want everybody to bid more. As you know, education has been even my own cause. So I really love it when people actually donate. So the video wasn't really about that. And I thought it was pretty clear that it was really about the brand power of Jimin. And I've done one for Jungkook already. And as you know, I always intend to do it for everybody, for all the members. But just the viciousness of the messages that I get whenever it's about whenever the video is about Jimin, it was just the intern. So for me, I would not have paid any attention to it at all. I have a pretty thick skin, but the intern was actually getting pretty traumatized with the messages that she was receiving. And it's not like this is the first time she's read messages. So I'm not saying that I only get messages when it's about Jimin's. When I do a video about Jimin, I get hate message whenever I do a solo video, regardless of who that is. So if I do, like, for example, a V focus video, then I would get hate messages from others, and then Jho I would get. So it's constant. But this one was just too much for the for the intern, that I would actually encourage everybody to just email me directly at info@asianeac.com. If you want to send me something vicious or whatever, just go directly to the email. Do not DM, because the intern is actually reading them. So it is not actually it's not getting to me. So if your target is me, just email me directly. So okay, so I hope that's clear. I don't care who gets the highest, whose item gets the highest bid. I hope they bid like 100,000, 1 million. If I can just go, I probably should tag Elon Musk and ask him to just buy all of this stuff for $100,000 each, because it's going to benefit the kids anyway. So okay, just email me there if you want to send hate messages instead of sending me a DM. Okay, maybe you should close my DM. I'm contemplating on it. I'm actually very, very, very close to it. I don't want to close it up, quite honestly, because I feel like um sometimes I still get a lot of good messages from DMs. Like, people are like, sometimes they would suggest topics for a video, or they would like provide some materials, or just give me some really good inputs that I sometimes am able to use for my videos or live streams. So I'm really contemplating on it, just because, just for the interns that are, scheduling all this stuff, and they're reading some of the messages. It's more for them, but I am contemplating on it, which I really don't want to do. Even in, just like anyway, I don't want to do it, but if it affects the interns that much, the messages are too much for ordinary people. I kind of realized that. I don't think that posting a video like that would earn an R threat. You know what I'm talking about? Um, or like, just being told you should unalive yourself. It's like, I thought that was like crazy, but I've never been affected by it anymore, because I've developed such a thick skin that I've forgotten that this interns might actually get affected. So, um, so yeah, it's just email me directly instead of DMing me if you want it to get to me instead of the interns. Okay. I'll read your hate mail for free. Are we discussing the 2026? Yes, the Epikase visit that they did. I've learned about the Suga training back into this was they've mentioned this before. So in the show, they've actually mentioned that he's done some MMA training. But I remember the first time that they actually mentioned this was in a Run BTS episode, when he was wearing this. If you would remember, they were, I think, doing tug of war or something, and RM said like, "Oh, well, Suga is really strong because he's doing wrestling or MMA or something like that." That was the first time. If you want to go back to that episode, they actually mentioned that. As always, Suga was like nonchalant about it, but I think it was RM who mentioned like he's really strong because he's doing MMA. But yeah, go back to that if you want to go back to that episode where RM actually said that. He was adorable in that costume. He was adorable. And he was like committed to it. Like, he would never take it off, not the headgear, not that, like, he would wear, like, he was committed to it, very much committed to it. I absolutely love it. Okay. Next. Um yeah, so RM did say that they just split the check, split the check equally for all of their performance. So that was like an input for how they actually split the income. Um Now, the Luca 511, this is our French themed restaurant that his brother worked in, Suga's brother worked in as a chef. We did not know about that until he said it. He's not there anymore, so he has his own restaurant. And I went to the restaurant, I went to the building. If you want to see that, it's in my live stream. I live streamed it when I visited it. I showed the fees and the rates of the food. So visit that, and I think I also live streamed outside, like how the outside looks like. I think it's one of the best investments that anyone can ever make, because the neighborhood is up and coming. There's a lot of constructions going. So apparently they are exploring more areas to turn into a shopping hub, and also like a cool neighborhood or something like that. Because of the influx of tourists, the tendency is if there is a good area where people can shop and go to, it gets flooded by tourists because they get a lot of tourists. Seoul gets a lot of tourists. So they keep on developing new areas. So that's the next area that they're developing. If you ever make it to Seoul, please visit the restaurant because it's really, really good. But this was where he worked before he put up that restaurant. Okay. And then I think that's my last slide. So I am starting to just go back to many of their appearances, and then I think the next one is going to be the Jimin and Jungkook one, and then I'll just go through the list of all the other appearances that they did. Okay, see you on Wednesday. See you on Wednesday. I have about 12 minutes. I think I can do the last one. The updates. Is there any question that you want to ask before I go on to the next topic? Bye, Fairyline. Bye bye. Um, Thank you for today's live, Fairyline. 45 million is not a lot, but if they manage their wealth fine, they can triple that in 10 years. Good luck to BTS members. 45 million. That's way less. Is that the estimate? That's nothing. 45 million for this tour maybe. But that is too little. That's too little. Okay. I mean, just one brand deal of this guys is like, okay, laugh so hard when RM was confounded by the 95 like, right? You can just count on women to do like the craziest thing. I still remember this video that they created, the 95 line created this video when they were still very new at that time. If you want to go search the Bangtan TV, it was RM and RM. It was V and Jimin. They were just dancing and just messing with everybody else, waking everyone up. They were wearing the 95 shirt. And then the others were wearing their own shirts. Mangne, 95 shirts, or just go and see. Like, it was a crazy video. Okay. I love and Jimin for they haven't lost their touch. That's the main lesson. They're still the dynamic duo. Okay, so is Yoongi signing with another brand, Givenchy? He has several offers. I don't know what's in his head why he doesn't want it, or maybe he's already shot some of them. So I know that some of the BTS members actually did their own shoots, their own solo projects in that time that they had free. I think there's like 2 weeks they had free, so they had their own solo thing going on. I think because it's primarily because Suga is doing a lot of his own investments right now, so it's, I think for him it's more important for him to concentrate on those things rather than be distracted by other things. And for now, his two longest partnerships, Samsung and NBA, I think it's bringing him enough money, especially the merch of NBA. So but I think for him, this is just me guessing. By the way, I have no basis. I think he's more concentrating on his own investments. So funny when RM said they were fighting, but he was the villain. And it was like 3 hours. They said to actually followed him to his room. But it was even funny for Suga when Suga was like, what's happening?" Like it transpired. Everything transpired in front of him. And to him, it was like, what's happening? He has no clue what's happening. Like, don't piss off V-Men. Just don't. I think that's the moral lesson. Not when they're drunk. Okay. So phenomenon. K-pops, so they've released more information about the phenomenon. So this is the Coachella of the is being organized of Korea. That's being organized by the four agencies, HYBE, SM, JYP, and YG Entertainment. Um, they said it's going to be an 11-day festival. It's not going to be 2 days, 3 days, 4 days. It's going to be 11 days, and it's going to transpire in two different locations. So that most likely is going to mean that it will not just be about K-pop. I think they're working with the tourism department of Korea, to bring in, to do more stuff so that they can really invite more people to come to Korea for this one. Okay. It's going to be a bloodbath among fandoms. Oh, for sure. So it's going to be an 11-day festival, and it's going to happen 2027 December in Korea. So not this year. It's going to be next year. They're going to wait until BTS's tour is done. So it's going to be 2027 December. And then by 2028 May, it's going to be in Los Angeles here, which is very interesting because Olympics is going to happen 2 days after, 2 months after June. So that's interesting. There's going to be a lot of traffic in LA, but okay. All right. So 2028 May in LA. And they specifically said LA, not California. So, well, it's LA, it's a big county. So maybe we don't know. Okay. So it's going to be more than K-pop. They're probably going to cover K-hip hop, K-rock, and even trot maybe. So it's not going to be just the K-pop groups that are going to be performing and participating. And great timing with the Olympics. Yeah, JYP is going to headline his wet Okay, so they are trying to work on doing some more collaborations between agencies. So this is what I heard. I don't know. Obviously, they're still in this planning stages, and things are can still change anytime. But what they're trying to do is do more collaborations. So they want to have at least a day or two where different groups from different agencies will actually be performing together. This has, of course, this has been done before. It's not like this is going to be the very first time. But the main difference is that they kind of want something like bigger that would showcase not just the group itself but the culture. So if you would remember the Mama performance of BTS back in 2019, I think that this is the now world famous bit of 3Js where they showcased Korean culture. They want to create something like that where it's going to be a fusion of Korean culture and also contemporary sound of each group. Now, here is the main problem. These are just rumors that I'm hearing. So the essentially many groups are already set to debut up until 2027. Like many of these agencies kind of already know, okay, we have a group that's going to be launching, that will be debuting on 2027 or later part of 2026. So that's all being taken into consideration. The other thing is they want to bring the biggest acts for this festival because they want to make a splash. Um, so it's not like they don't want it to be just another like award ceremony. They want it to become really big, and that means getting um, many of this acts, the biggest acts from each agency to actually participate. Now, whether or not they're trying to get BTS, um, I don't know. They probably are, but as we know, BTS kind of makes the call on whether they want to participate in something or not. And I'm also thinking like if they ever do an encore tour, so if they do, they're probably gonna do like two in every major city, like probably two in LA, two in New York, and then two in London, maybe two in Paris or something like that, and then two in so something like that. If they do like an encore, that most likely means, so what I heard is that they might release new materials so that they can perform something new for the encore. So that means their tour is going to extend like July, maybe June, all the way until June. Because right now the last date is March. If they do an encore, that means April or May, and that means they come back to Korea June for the finale. And so I'm assuming that right after that, some of the members are going to do their solo projects. Um, so that would mean that some of the members will be busy during that time in December. So I don't know how possible it is for BTS to actually come back together again and perform. And then the other thing is, I think the agency is well aware that holding back a little would be good for the brand. You don't want BTS to be constantly out there. So I don't know. Maybe one member, maybe two, three members can participate and do like collaborations with other artists. Let's see. But they are trying to get the biggest acts to actually perform. And that includes BTS, Twice, Stray Kids. They still haven't said anything about the Middle East. They haven't said anything about the Middle East, but I think they will go there. And Africa, even. Okay. So yeah, it's interesting how the politics behind it will be. You know that SM would want the finale stage. Um, I'm sure it's going to be like a collaboration stage. I think that's what's going to be the highlight. The headliners will become the I think there's going to be a headliner from each agency. So you have like the Friday, for example, like Friday, Saturday, Sunday, you have a headliner for each, probably more than one stage, and then a headliner for each stage. But the main headliner will probably be a collaboration of different groups. Just because that's the only way you can work around the politics behind it. SM has a really good influence in South Korea. Um, the Olympics event, right? Like what happened in the Winter Olympics, why BTS decided not to perform. So they have a really good pool. They have a good network in South Korea. So that's coming into play. Okay. They will be offering cultural experiences. So they have set programs in their Korea Cultural Center right now. So they have cooking classes, language classes. So that will be they're trying to put that in as well. Um, they want to extend the cooking, the language, and the dressmaking programs that they offer in their cultural centers, and then just offer that for this one. That's why it's an 11-day festival. It's not just about music. It's going to be a cultural experience for everybody. Okay, can you see Hobie putting the choreo for a final stage? I think the other artists may pass out. I think. Oh yeah. I mean, even if I think they're going to experience the shock of their life if BTS rehearses with them. So I've had a conversation with some of the dancers that used I'll discuss that in the members only live stream. Okay. So there's going to be interactive exhibits as well. So it's not there's going to be some sort of like an exhibit of different things like memorable outfits and stuff like that. But this time it's going to be interactive. So people can put themselves inside the world of these groups. So, okay, I'll discuss more of that. Okay, later on. There's also literature is also going to be a part of that. So there are going to be some authors in there. They're going to be inviting some authors, some writers. There's going to be movies and film showings. There's also going to be theater. So there will be. These are the plans, by the way. As I've said, it can change, but these are the ones. These are the things that they're planning. There's theater, so some of the famous stories, literature, mythology, folklore of South Korea will be staged, and you can actually like really see a stage play in front of you. Okay, and then the bigger plan is for them to set up a cultural office in many different locations around the world. So they want to extend the experience whatever they are doing in the festival they want to do that in the cultural offices. If they cast too wide a net it will not work in my opinion. And then oh, they plan to do like an RPG, so gaming is going to be a huge part of it. So they will be doing some metaverse, some gaming components in there. But the end goal is to make it like a Korean experience, Korean cultural experience, not just a music festival. the central, the focus of it, the center of it will be music, but around it, to attract more people to come, they want more cultural experience. So as you know, JYP is actually serving as one of the advisors or secretary of the government to push Hallyu, and this is all part of it. Now, it will be interesting. It's 2027. So a lot can still happen, but these are some of the things that they've put on the table, at least based on some rumors that they are going to do in that festival. So the question is, are you going to go? Like, or you're only going to go if there's going to be BTS? Let me know. My daughter actually wants to go. She said she wants to experience that. So let's see if that's going to work out. But my next focus is the Encore. So I definitely want to go to Encore. If they go to London, especially if it is the Wembley, I'm going, and then South Korea. Okay, personally, just to avoid the drama and politics, I hope BTS stay out of it. And JYP will be doing the opening entertainment. With wet. I hope they fix their business so that they don't overcharge. Okay, sounds like they are trying to do too much. This is definitely a cultural fair. It is more a cultural experience than just a festival. Okay. Um, any questions before we go off? JYP is smart. He made a comeback right before K-pop Coachella. He is promoting Incredible. Oh my. He has a new song out, right? Yes. What is the title? Thank you for your time and all that you do. We appreciate you very much. Thank you so much. Bring back the transparent pants. JY Papi, apparently. Okay. Thank you, everybody. I'll see you Wednesday. Bye.